So today we're going to be learning about the history of an atom, and we're going to be naming all the scientists involved. So currently we think atoms are very small and have a very small mass, but they're made of protons, electrons and neutrons. Protons have a positively charged, protons are positively charged, electrons are negatively charged, and neutrons have no charge. So we're going to be learning about a few scientists and people who developed the idea of atoms. So, firstly, Democritus. He described materials as made of small particles that cannot be divided, and he called these particles atoms. However, he did not have any evidence, but that was a really good idea. So, 2,000 years later, in 1803, John Dalton uses observation to describe the atoms in more detail. He thought it was just a sphere of positive charge, that's it, and that could not be divided further. But in 1897, 94 years later, J.J. Thomson discovered the electron. He discovered this because of the use of the plum pudding model to describe the to describe the atoms. He thought that inside the sphere of positive charge there were small electrons, and this idea developed rapidly as Ernest Rutherford thought that atoms have a nucleus. And in 1911, Rutherford suggested that atoms had a positively charged nucleus in the center, where most of the mass of the atom was concentrated, and much of the atom was empty space. This was the nuclear model of the atom. In 1913, Niels Bohr used theoretical calculations that agreed with experimental evidence to adapt the nuclear model. He explained that electrons orbited around the nucleus in specific distances. These were called shells. The further away it is and the more shells you add, the higher the energy level. And later, finally, in 1932, James Chadwick discovered the neutron. And this was the final piece of the puzzle. We need to investigate more about electrons, but that's enough for today.